Well, hello and welcome back to the Chamber Vibes podcast. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Let me just give you a rundown of what's going on. So I'm your host, Foster Garrett, Director of Marketing and Events for the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce. And if you don't know what a chamber is, that is totally fine. We are a nonprofit membership organization that strives to help the Bedford area prosper by serving, convening, and collaborating with local businesses, organizations, and people. And every week I get to interview a different chamber member to find out what they do and why they do it. And it's recorded right here in beautiful Bedford, Virginia, and broadcasted on Media Squatch Plus, which if you don't have the Media Squatch Plus app, you are missing out. There are around 20 local podcasts on there. So you can hear from us and lots of other local organizations like D-Day and so much more. But before we get to the actual podcast, I do want to thank our sponsor, Gary Evans, with Cornerstone Operations for helping bring this podcast to you. Without the support of people like Gary, we really wouldn't be able to do things like this. And this podcast is an amazing way, not only for our members to tell their stories, but also for you as the listener to become more tuned into your community. I always come in thinking I know a little bit about what we're going to talk about, but I always leave having learned so much more, and it's helpful for me living and working here to know about all the fun things to do, all the hidden gems, all the things to talk up about Bedford. There are so many services and resources out there should I ever need them, and it's great. It's a great time. And if you like this, you should really listen to all the ones that come before, and we record a new episode every week, so there's plenty more to come. Before we get to our amazing guest, I do want to tell you about some of the things we have going on at the chamber. We've been really busy this fall, and it is not stopping here. We have two big events next week. On Thursday, November 6th from 11 to 2, we will be at the Bauer Center for the Arts for speed networking. If you haven't done speed networking before, don't be intimidated. It is super, super fun. I actually like it more than freeform networking because there's a little bit more structure to it. Everybody is there kind of for the same purpose, and you're going to leave having gotten a guaranteed amount of connections. Sometimes you go to a networking event and you don't know anybody in the room, so you have to gear yourself up to talk to everybody. And then once you do, you could talk to 3 people, you could talk to 15 people, you might talk about the weather, you might make a great business contact, but then you'll learn about other people's, the name of their cats and their dogs and what they had for breakfast, and you don't really know what you're there for. It can be fun, but if you're doing it as a very, very busy professional, it doesn't always create the impact that you want. That's why we're doing speed networking. We are running a flash sale this week, so if you get your ticket by Halloween at midnight, very spooky, you can get a significant discount on your ticket. We do have some spaces left, so if you or someone you know is interested in participating next Thursday, this is a great way to kind of close out 2025, having hit some of your business and exposure and connection goals. Another thing that we have going on next week is our big 12th annual Christmas market. That'll be happening on Saturday, November 8th from 10 to 12 at Anxious for Nothing in Bedford. That's 578 Blue Ridge Avenue. I give you that address because it is the Old People's Building, and I'm really excited to be there. I've been to Anxious for Nothing a couple times, and they have an amazing community center, lots of couches, they have a stage, lots of games, but they also have like a full skate park in there. So even if you don't care about the craft show or don't want to start your shopping too early, which if you're not starting your shopping early for Christmas, you're crazy. Just come by to check it out. Anxious for Nothing is a really cool organization. They were our nonprofit of the year this year. And yeah, we'll also have 40 different vendors selling pottery, jewelry, woodwork, baked goods, everything you can really think of. We have it there. So it's a great way to shop small, shop local, and start checking things off your list. You won't really find unique gifts like this anywhere else. There is a $5 entry fee, but for every $1, you get 1 entry into a raffle item of your choice, and we have some really cool things. Last year, our most popular item was a Yeti cooler, and we have one again, along with some other things. So it's going to be a really fun time. I'm really excited about this event. We also have a grant writing workshop later on in November. November is just a really busy month, but I'll just talk to you about those two things. If you want to learn more about anything that we have going on, you can go to our website, bedfordareachamber.com. We have a full calendar of events with everything that we do and also with events and programming from our members. And I will drop our phone number at the very end so that you can call us and ask us all sorts of questions about everything that I just mentioned. So make sure to listen all the way through. But that is enough for me. I'm done talking for the moment. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce today's guest, Mary Zirkle with the Town of Bedford. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Foster. Thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity to be in the Squatch Shack here with our podcast with the Chamber. So looking forward to our conversation, learning something myself.
I'm interested to hear more from you, Mary. I feel like I know. It's like I said, I always have a tidbit of what everybody's going to say, but I always learn so much more. I also love calling this place the Squatch Shack. It's almost a tongue twister.
Almost.
We should say it five
times fast.
Not on air.
Squatch Shack. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's difficult. Well, Mary, before we kind of get into everything, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and then about what you do?
So all things Mary Zirkle. I am a native of Roanoke. I went to Roanoke Catholic and went on to school and got an undergraduate degree in biology, which makes me very odd in some respects, I think. And then I turned that into actually a planning degree. So I have a master's in planning from Virginia Tech. So I'm really proud to be a Hokie. So it was around the barn kind of way to get there. But where I ended up is where I love. So planning is one of those things that allows me to use a breadth of information and apply it in various ways in the community. So planning is a great foundation for what I'm able to do here now in economic development and planning. So I do both of those things for the town. It's community development is the basis for a lot of what happens here, and it brings together both planning and economic development to bring us community development.
That's awesome. Well, we'll circle back to what is community development and what is economic development, because I feel like sometimes they can be conflated. But before we jump into that, can you tell us just an overview of the town of Bedford?
Oh, an overview? Would you like the history or just like
anything you want to throw at us? This is your time.
I've been here. So the town of Bedford is really special. Everyone knows that. If you're from here, been here, come here. It's really a great community that is very tight knit and has a lot of good things going for it. So I don't want to say it has a lot of potential. I mean, it does, but we're beyond that. We're so much more than the potential we have, and we're working into living into that potential now. So town of Bedford is a great place to work. I really have enjoyed being here since 2018. Prior to that, I was a town manager in another community, and I just found that towns are where it's at. Mm-hmm. You can have so much community positive effect, because I really hate the word impact. So we talk about positive effects here and what we can do in a community that allows us to have some meaningful input on where it's going and what it wants to be. So Bedford is just an amazing place, just so much going on. The people here are great. They support it so much, and it's really great to see where we've come from, where we are, where we're going.
Yeah, I think I'm from out in the county, but I lived in town for a brief period, and I work here. And I've always gone to Liberty schools. So I've always had a tight connection to the town. And I think that people really care about living here. They like to be able to have a positive effect upon their community and see, if there's anything lacking, they want to try to help with it. There are a lot of different creative people that have come up with different solutions for different things and different businesses and organizations. And we have some really cool things here, not just the beauty of it, which the beauty is a huge thing.
It's amazing.
But also the D-Day Memorial, the Bauer Center for the Arts. I like some of the smaller things like the Bug Garden. And now we have some newer things coming in, like the Flora and the Fauna.
Yep.
And I think it just continues to get better and better. And the town is really small, too. What is the population and what is kind of our square mileage here?
So as of 2023, when we had our second phase of the negotiated boundary adjustment, we went to about 8,500 in population. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to say what our true population is, but estimates per household gave us that number. So we went up to 11 square miles.
Wow.
So huge.
It was 7.5 before?
It's about 8. Yeah,
8, yeah.
We're not far off. So yeah, we grew a little bit in land mass. So yeah, it's not that small, but we are growing. We have at least 3 to 4 subdivisions that are coming on the books now that are going to create more lots, more population, which is what we've been striving for, because everybody tells me they want a Chick-fil-A or a Bojangles. I have to tell them there are certain metrics we have to meet to be seen as a community that can support this. So we always say we need rooftops before we can get the commercial side of things. So we're really excited to be growing into that as well. So yeah, we're growing.
Yeah, I saw that Easton Homes just did their official ribbon cutting.
Yeah, Easton Crossing is coming online. Yeah, that's been coming on since probably 2023. Nothing happens quickly when it requires changes.
I don't know. I feel like 2023 is pretty fast.
Yeah, it is. It was a rezoning request that went through the process. But yeah, we're really excited to see houses coming up out of the ground, because that means more people coming here. I'm interested to see if our model proves true, that we have been a community that's been more of a bedroom community. We're the our superpower, as I say, is we're our location between Roanoke and Lynchburg. And so people who live or work in one of those two locations can meet here in the middle. And that's kind of the sweet spot that we have. So I think it's okay to be a bedroom community, but we do need to have certain things that our residents are able to go to, like a Chick-fil-A or Bojangles. Yeah. So the things that we're going to be getting are, on the horizon for those sorts of things. Now, there's the everyday things like you mentioned. So what's great about the town of Bedford, the things we have now in downtown, and that is one of the things that we hope to be focusing on, is the growth and continued revitalization of that, because there's an ebb and flow of every community, and we want to be the best that we can be for everyone.
Absolutely. And I feel like the two sides of the coin with doing economic development and community development is you have a hand in the full process of taking everybody's input and then putting it together and then acting upon it. Because that's not always the case, especially with like bigger municipalities.
Yeah, it's kind of a one-stop shop with what I'm able to do here. We're so small that it enables us to do things in a more efficient manner. So I can be a one-stop shop from someone who's coming in saying, hey, I saw this. I'm thinking about starting a business, or I'd like to do a subdivision and bring in some housing. And I can walk them through the whole process and come out the other end, pretty efficiently, putting them in contact with the people that they need along the way, because we're pretty much all in the same building, if it has to do with that. And then we're able to bring in our economic development authority, our planning commission, our housing authority, in levels of efficiency that others may not be able to do.
That is really cool.
I think so too. I love my job.
I know you do. Well, can we talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan, the downtown 5-year action plan, and what are the plans?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, as a planner, yes, I can talk about all kinds of stuff related to planning. So we got a couple of tracks going on right now. We've been working on our comprehensive plan since last year. This is something that's technically required by the state of Virginia. So we can leave it at that and just check some boxes, or we can do a little bit more with it. So we've been hoping to do a little bit more with that. So it is a 20-year horizon of planning for the community. So it's bedford2045.com, but we're not looking at tomorrow. We're looking down the road. So we have to have a comprehensive view, thus a comprehensive plan of things that could be coming and things that we want to come, and then be able to plan for that. So what's the outcome of a comprehensive plan? It's a land use map, future land use map. So we can say what's appropriate in what area of the community. And that's why it's so important to have the input from the community for this. So we had a survey. We launched it last Centerfest, last September, a year ago.
Wow, it's been that long.
It's been that year ago. It's been that long ago. Yeah. So we've been collecting input, and then we kind of set that aside, and that's kind of what informed where we've heard from people where they want to go. We had a meeting just this past August with presenting some of the findings from the work that our consultant has done and the results of the survey. So we put that back out to the people and let them have some input on transportation, the future land use map, what should go where, because there's a real fine balance between grow and don't grow. And so what we hear a lot about is people don't want Bedford to change, but they want it to grow. And so it's like, okay, well, what's growth in Bedford look like? Tell us that. Don't just say there's no growth. We can't do that, because we are growing and we want to grow. So the question is where is that appropriate? So that's what the comprehensive plan gets us to. And then the comprehensive plan should ultimately inform our capital improvement plan or program. And that gets to the budgeting of where do we afford and where do we put the facilities that people need as we grow. So where do fire stations go? Where do police stations go? In bigger entities that do actually have land where they need to put those new facilities to accommodate the growth. So that's the exciting part. But that's a 20-year horizon, as I mentioned. But what we're looking at right now to laser focus in on downtown is a 5-year action plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't want any plan to sit on a shelf. So that's why we had gotten a grant from USDA, Rural Business Development, to bring in a consultant that would give us a fresh look at downtown, because we've done revitalization over the years. We've provided incentives. It's had some effect, but we've been hearing from the public for some time now that there are concerns about the vacant buildings downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, well, let's talk about this. This was a priority of town council in their strategic plan meeting last year. One of the things was let's focus on downtown. So we did.
Mm-hmm.
We got the grant. We're now done with the survey and the study that we have from our consultants. So the action plan is live. I need to get that link out there. I'm going to be putting out a press release, I hope, on Friday that will give us some framework for what's in there. So it's got 4 things, and these 4 things generally follow the Main Street approach. So just to let everybody know, we are still a Main Street community.
Mm-hmm.
We are not a full Main Street community because there's not an executive director and a board overseeing a program, but we are still an exploring Main Street community. And that's important to know. That gives us some level of funding at a lower level, but we're still on the radar of the Virginia Main Street program. And we're important to them because we were one of the first Main Street programs when this came on in the 1980s. Yeah, we were a flagship on that, and they were very proud to have us as that. So we don't want to let that go. So there are certain things we have to do to maintain that I keep up with. But the downtown action strategy is something that town council wanted us to do. So we have the results of that, and it focuses on the 4 points of policy and administration, design, tourism and promotion, and economic vitality. So there are certain implementation strategies that are under each one of those. And the ones we want to focus on are the ones that are now in that table. Some we may be able to lean into as well that are, 1 to 3 years out. But ultimately, we should see some things happening in downtown pretty soon. Some of those projects, one of the simplest ones was just for visual effect, is to add lighting wherever we can on town-controlled property. So one of the projects that the core team has been working on, this is a group of people who are invested in downtown, and they are providing some guidance on where we go with these projects. So lights in the Market Pavilion are the first project we wanted to take on. Pretty simple, just to show that. And then ultimately we want to string lights down Bridge Street.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It would be awesome. So we have some challenges with that. So we may be able to go, light pole to light pole. There's certain things we need to work out logistically with various departments in the town to make these things a reality. But so the goal is to see something happening sooner than later here with this plan. And again, it's an action plan. It's not just a plan. We put the word action is in there for a reason. So town council at their retreat just this past Saturday, again, have looked at those implementation strategies that they were presented at a previous council meeting. And it seems to be they're on board with moving forward with a focus on downtown. So the importance of downtown, when we say, well, why downtown? Why not somewhere else in town? Because downtown is the thing that I believe can be a heartbeat of a community and reflects very, very much on where a community's value is. So we want to be sure that we're putting the right focus there and a strategy. And focus there is important because it's the concentrated area as an employment center, number one, but it's also, again, what people see when they come through as a visitor and say, they got a really cool downtown.
Yeah.
They're really doing something. There's life happening here, and that's what we want. And one of the things that I want to just let people know, too, is that one of the things the town has been focused on is trying to get upper-level residential.
Love that.
Because here we are again, residential and rooftops are going to bring the demand for the commercial services. So I was like, it's my biscuits to beer campaign. So if we have people who are living there, they're going to want to wake up, find breakfast, and then stay out, walk home
and
after that.
That's something that I remember current mayor C.G. Stanley saying, I think 2 years ago at the candidate forum, was talking about when people live somewhere, they care about it.
Yeah.
And like when people see other people living there and walking around and doing kind of their daily life in town, then they start to say, well, let me go join them.
Yeah, let me check this out.
Let me go check
the
this
place
out.
to be.
Yeah.
That's what we want to be. It's the place to be. And we want to be in Bedford.
Yes.
So.
Because Bedford is better.
Because Bedford is better.
Yeah.
Betterinbedford.com.
Betterinbedford.com.
Shameless plug.
I know.
Oh.
It's bad when I'm plugging it too. It's just too easy.
Appreciate you.
No, that's exciting though. I'm really excited to see what you guys do, especially with just like the aesthetic improvements. Because I think even just small things like doing string lights, like it shows people that we care.
Yeah.
It also like it changes kind of like the ambiance of walking through town, especially at night, because a lot of things like are closed like in the evenings, but that doesn't mean that you can't go out and enjoy yourself and walk around and see just kind of the beauty in being in a physical space like that.
Yeah, and also shout out to our police department that makes it such a safe place. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Well, Mary, do you want to talk about anything else with the downtown action plan? I know people are kind of going to see everything when you send out
the
link in the press release, but
so the other thing we're talking about as part of the core teams brought up is that how do we incorporate volunteer time to this, to stuff that people can invest in this, the outcomes of this. So I think we're still trying to figure out what that may look like. So maybe once the plan is fully out there, people can sign up for something that they may want to be involved in to say, I can move this forward. I just want to, one thing I want to reiterate for people is like, they always look to the town. I'm going to say always, that's not true. Very often people look to the town and say, well, why isn't the town doing blank? Yes. So, okay, listeners, fill in your blank and tell me what you can do to make that blank happen. This is what we need to have people say, you know what, I can do this. You know, why isn't the town attracting this? Why isn't the town attracting that? Well, we are. It just doesn't look like the way that some people see it happening. So we need people who are who want that blank to step up and help it where they can. So certain things that government can do, certain things government overreach should not do. And then we kind of find out where the public can live into some of the things that they want to see happen. So there are volunteer opportunities. I think one of the conversations that may be mentioned in a future podcast from another podcaster that comes here is just finding out what exactly those opportunities may be for the public. If we could tell people what they can do to volunteer, I think they'll step up to do that. And then we want to be very sure too. It's like, what is the town's responsibility in this, and what can volunteers do to kind of to help with that and join in the partnership of investing in town? Yeah,
and I think it's always, I feel like I get caught up in Facebook a lot sometimes when people are complaining about things. Yeah. And it's hard to kind of separate, you know, why they're complaining from what they're saying. And like, I'm sorry guys if I'm offending you by saying that you're complaining. I complain too. But I think at the root of everything, when people say things like, I wish that we had this, or why aren't we doing that? It's because they care. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's awesome.
Absolutely.
And I think that, I think it can be difficult for an entity that doesn't already have like an existing like volunteer program to give like concrete examples of like, this is exactly how you can help. Because having volunteers and managing volunteers, like it's your time and we love your commitment, but sometimes it can be really difficult to kind of cultivate that and figure out what needs to be done in addition to what you're already doing, because you are strapped for time and you got lots of things to do and you have things you got to check off the list. Plus, like with government and with economic development, things are really slow. They're really, really slow.
For good reason. And then sometimes it's just a matter of funding is always a thing too. But timing is everything. And it's funny, as they say, it's a marathon. Yeah. So it's been a long time coming, and it's kind of like the flora and fauna.
Yes, that was so exciting.
2017, the town put out an RFP to find a developer for the former high/middle school and public school. And so now you're seeing some of that come to fruition. That we expected this to be a catalytic project in the town. So shortly after that RFP went out and we found a developer, there was a group of, people invested in the North Bridge Street side of the downtown area that said, you know, things are going to be changing. Let's figure out how to get ahead of this. And out of that came the Bridge Street revitalization plan, affectionately known as School to School, where we were connecting the schools on the north end to the now Susie Gibson named Bedford Tech Center. So there was, again, in between all of that is another interim plan that's had some other effects on downtown, bringing things that we knew were needed. So we've been working on implementing that plan as well. But it's been really exciting now to see. And like I said, the flora is coming on. But again, it is a marathon. We've been at it a while. And it hasn't been just the town, but we've been able to support it in various ways with performance agreements with the developer, helping everywhere that we could with that, with grants. A couple of grants were applied to that property to help it redevelop in brownfields and other ways to get it cleaned up and fixed up. So we're really excited to see that coming on now. But I'm still really really excited about a boutique hotel.
I know.
Just
That's going to be an awesome
wait.
asset.
Yeah.
And it was really cool when they reached out about the flora being done.
Yes.
And wanted to do the ribbon cutting in their open house. I was like, yes.
It's
and
real.
Yes, it was real. And it was, I mean, I knew it was going to be amazing, but it was really, really cool just to see, like, I mean, of course, when you're doing a classroom as an apartment, it's going to be small, but what they did with the space, I mean, they maximized it to like the 8th degree, and they kept a lot of the original character of the building. And it's just, they did a great job.
Yeah.
And when I went back for the open house later that day, there were so many people.
Wow.
Yes. And like I saw old teachers taking pictures in front of their classrooms.
Fantastic.
I heard people talking about going to elementary and high school and middle school there. And it's just, I think people were so excited. It was just like a breath of relief because when the fire happened and it got delayed, people just, they got stressed.
Yeah.
And they're like, I just want it to happen.
Just
and it
another thing, another bad thing happened.
Another bad thing happening in COVID too.
And then there was all of that stuff. So we really come through with this. And New Bedford has just been so resilient with this and so excited. They deserve a great thing. And so it's so nice to see the reality of it coming.
I know.
Yes.
And the fauna is next. And we have another hotel in the works for the town.
So we have Hampton Inn and Suites is coming out of the ground now at the foot of D-Day beside the Welcome Center there off the center interchange of the bypass. So really excited to see footings being poured on that now. It's a reality that's going to happen. So we're hoping it's going to be open December 2026. This will be game changer for us with 85 rooms and then a meeting space that can accommodate small meetings. But for us, it's going to be huge because I think the two go hand in hand when people come and want to stay here in Bedford. We haven't had this. This will be our first business class hotel in town and county. And so it's been a real effort to make this happen. The town really leaned into this because we wanted it to be there instead of on a lot that maybe was on the bypass because it put it closer to downtown. And that's what we wanted to do is, again, better connect people to downtown for those opportunities and the businesses to grow from.
Yeah, I think it's in the perfect location. Yeah. Between downtown, next to the Welcome Center and D-Day. Yep. So close to 460. Yep. It is really in the perfect place.
That's what we thought. So the town was able to leverage land that we had there as part of our package for that. So that was the reason we incentivized a hotel. I mean, some people are probably going, why did you throw this at that? We needed to because that meant we could control where it went and some of the outcomes. Because if you don't own it, you don't control it in economic development. So we want to be able to provide what we can and do our best to make things go the way that is best for the community. So it's really exciting to see that coming online. We know it's going to spur some additional development in that area too. It's just been one of those things. It's actually one of the 3 strategies that was in our Economic Development Authority's plan. So we could check that one off our list. We're really excited about that happening and being the first in the town for business class.
Yeah. What is kind of the effect of having a business class hotel?
Yeah, the business class hotel, I mean, that's just kind of on a scale of things that you need to have in a community to be recognized as somewhat legitimate. Coffee shops and hotels, because even our businesses, they entertain out of town, not just clients, but the corporate. When the corporate comes in, for those that are not locally owned, they don't have a place to stay. And we lose that generally to Lynchburg. Most seem to go that direction. So it's really critical for that. And then visitorship at the D-Day, they're generally running about 50,000 visitors a year.
Wow.
So again, and they're older. Generally, the people interested in history are older and they need a comfortable place where they feel, Hampton Inn is a Hampton Inn wherever I go. So that was the other thing we wanted to control with this incentive program and the performance agreement was we got to have a say in what the brand was. So really excited because that means people can stay longer in town. That's the whole point. They don't go out to Lynchburg and not come back. So we want them to stay longer and spend their money, continue to increase what we're seeing. Virginia Tourism Corporation put out some numbers about record numbers of Virginia tourism, and Bedford has been growing. Bedford County and the area has been growing with that. So we only hope that that's going to continue now that we can keep them here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, we're excited.
That's so exciting. Good. You guys also have some stuff in the works for kind of expanding the historical nature and recognition of Bedford, don't you?
Do we?
Do we? That's on the list.
The World War II Heritage City designation.
That's what I'm referring to, Mary.
Well, I was like the history. I'm like, ooh, we already have a historic district.
We do have a historic district.
We're gonna, market that too.
We have the Bedford Boys Tribute Center. We have lots of different things.
We have a lot of good stuff. So
we do.
We did receive a World War II Heritage City designation from the National Park Service. There can be only one in every state. So,
oh, really?
Yes, we are the.
That's crazy. Well, that makes sense.
Yes. We were competing. This was competitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We competed up against Norfolk, I think, was one. And there was another. It's really bad that I can't remember, but it was
okay. We're the winners.
Yeah, we won. That's all we know. We beat out Norfolk. So we're really excited about that. So one of the outcomes are going to be new brochures where we can fully interpret the home front. This is going to amplify what had been out before with the home front brochure that's going to be out live. And then we're actually putting in signs as well, too, that kind of at all the gateways to let people know where they are. And
signage.
Yeah, signage. Love, hate. So, more signs.
More signs. Not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing when it's saying, how good we are, how cool we are.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could put that in really big font, the only heritage city.
That's true.
But I don't think the Park Service would let me. They have very strict.
In the brochure.
It is in the brochure.
There we go.
Yes. We got a draft of that last week. We're continuing to work with the brand expert who's done the Destination Bedford marketing program campaign. So they're working on the brochure, and we did see a draft of that. So it did say the Virginia's World War II Heritage City.
That's awesome.
It was great.
That's exciting.
Yep.
I feel like there's always like small things that we get that just like gives a little oomph.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Next level.
Yeah. And let's step away from, I think we've talked a decent bit about tourism and just different projects that are going on in the town. But you guys have a lot on your mind for workforce too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Town Economic Development Authority has jumped into a very big venture in taking over the former Winona USA building. Others will know that as the Wheelabrator building. Mm-hmm. So back in the day, this building is as old as me, so that makes it, vintage and fantastic. So the Economic Development Authority did finally purchase that. I believe it was last August or year before that now. Just like I said, it's a marathon, and my brain is just sometimes it just remembers the short game. But the Winona facility, we hope, will be transformed into the Regional Metal Workforce Training Center with a focus on retaining employees in the metal fabrication industry. So we're working on continuing partnerships on finding who's going to be in that building. We did have a Go Virginia grant that gave us a feasibility study that would let us know that, yes, this is definitely needed in our region. So we had a follow-up meeting with that after the plan. We received that. We had the meeting on October 1st of various entities who could be in that room, from educators in our community college system and higher education. We have interest from Virginia Tech for perhaps a foundry. So we really want to figure out how the mix works. And we know that the first tenant or industry in there is going to set the tone for the whole development. So we're really excited to find out who our partners can be in this. So this has been a really heavy lift for our Economic Development Authority, or EDA, and they've really embraced this, the challenge, and the just figuring out what the next steps are going to be. So that's going to be really huge for us to be something like that to the region, because it's not just the Lynchburg area, but this went to Roanoke as well.
Oh, so, really?
Again, maximizing our superpower of position. We see ourselves as a convener between the two regions.
Yeah. Why specifically metal training programs?
Yeah, so metal, we wanted to be true to what this building was built for, and we knew there was a workforce here of about 40 people. Those jobs were lost when Winona closed in 2020, so we wanted to be able to keep that. And then as we were talking with Central Virginia Community College, and I guess it was April of 2021, they said, yeah, we really need this. We have wait lists for our welding programs. We could really use a space that helps us with the fabrication side of things. So the more we talked with other industry, they told us the same thing, is we don't have a pipeline for metalworking, whether it's fabrication, CNC machining, going on down to metals testing. And that is the last step in a process, is to test the work that was done in the metal process. So the more we talked to businesses, we found out there's a need to have trained employees. So when they come out of a community college program, they generally have a basic knowledge, but they don't have a specific knowledge to the industry that needs that. Welding is not the same across industry. Very, very different depending on the type, whether, you're framatome or it's steel dynamics. They're all very different. So what we were finding that people needed a different level of skill than they were able to get. So we've envisioned a place where they could have their people trained on their equipment, but not take time from their people as the trainers. So it's really exciting to see. But yeah, metal was the focus of this, just to fill a niche that we knew we had.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
That's going to be really cool.
It's very exciting.
I feel like there's a lot of movement for training and developing our workforce.
Yeah.
And especially with the trades. And I think our area, like you said, like we have a great workforce here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a lot of different like specific knowledge. Yeah. And with younger people, giving them not only like presenting them with their options, but showing them the pathways in which they can get those skills and kind of stand out. There's a lot of different things going on with apprenticeship and just with different things happening. Yeah. So that's really cool. That's a cool way to kind of have Bedford be its own little niche program.
That's what we think.
Yeah.
We want to be that cool
really
kid.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have, I know that you're still trying to find partners for this project, but do you have like an estimate of when it could possibly open?
Oh, I hope it'd be sooner than later. Like I said, talking with Virginia Tech, we also are talking with the Naval Welding Institute. So it just depends on what they need when. Because we keep hearing about how we're very far behind in the shipbuilding industry in America. So it's just a matter of timing and finding someone who has a need for a space like this. So we're just trying to get the word out. And that is the next thing we need to do, is to get this out further, to find out who the other partners might be. But sooner than later, we're desperately trying to get this launched, because, rent ain't free.
Yeah.
We got.
Are you guys renting?
Well, we have carrying costs, so I consider this almost a rent thing. No, we do own the building outright, so we're able, again, site control to leverage that. But we do have bills we still have to pay that we need to be,
Gotta get some things in order.
Yeah,
bring money in to pay.
We like money.
Yeah,
we like money.
Money is a good thing. Money makes everything happen.
Yeah.
Well, Mary, is there anything else that you want to talk about today?
Just real briefly, if I could just mention that we do still have the passenger rail stop on the horizon.
Yes.
I've had people say, "I'm really sorry to hear that didn't work out." I'm like, "What are you talking about? We're perfectly fine." I mean, we have a grant from the Federal Rail Administration for the engineering and the environmental work that has to be done up front before we go to construction. So I love to say this phrase, and it's we are on track. So
love it.
I know. I'm gonna
train pun.
You have to love it. That is an intentional pun. So we're on track with this. It's we think it's going to happen, but there's several things that have to be in place prior to that. So we have a request for proposal out right now for seeking a consultant for engineering who can do those two things prior to then taking that to construction, and that would be a next phase where we'd probably have to get another grant. So that means somebody's going to have to pay match on some grants. So we are, need to be positioning ourselves with our partners to be ready for the next step. But the passenger rail stop is not dead. And I like to tell people this is not a new rail stop. This is getting back service that we had that was discontinued in 1971. So rail ain't new in Bedford. We just want it back. And that's what I keep telling people.
It's been a long process for that. I think, what was it, like 2011?
2014.
2014,
yeah.
Okay.
If we go back to the Bedford Franklin Regional Rail Initiative, this was a groundswell of citizens and businesses that came together. And that's the best way to make things happen, is getting the people in the room who want these things. So we've been able to pick up from the work that they laid as a groundwork foundation, and just trying to make it a reality. We're still working on it here. We don't, again, long game, marathon. Town doesn't, we don't quit.
That's a lot, Mary. You have so much going on.
There's a lot of good stuff.
It's the way that everything like starts so far in advance, and then it just develops and comes into fruition in really cool ways.
That is what we pray for here.
Yeah. Well, if people want to provide you with their input,
yes,
or if they want to help with anything,
yes,
what's the best way to do that?
So I suppose email, I guess, is that the right answer?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
sure.
Yeah, emails is, it's just mzirkle@bedfordva.gov, and that is out at our bedfordva.gov. If you go down under planning, you will see the way to contact me. But I'd love to see what people want. I mean, we hear a lot about the wants, and I always follow up with, well, that's great. Tell me how we can get there? And we're happy to do it. I mean, we are happy to do what people want wherever we can and where it makes sense for the community.
And if you have a business and you're thinking of starting your business or bringing your business to Bedford, come talk to Mary. Come talk to us.
Call me up. We are absolutely ready for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different cool places that are existing in Bedford, in the town of Bedford. And there's other places if you're perhaps thinking of building.
Yes.
Let us know.
Yeah, we will hook you up with that start to finish here in an efficient manner.
I know. And it's funny. People sometimes reach out to us at the chamber about spaces that they have available that they want to rent or sell or whatever. And like, I had no idea they were even there.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things. We know the things.
That's great. And that's what really kind of the magic of economic development is matchmaking.
Yes.
It's like, I need to know what's out there to find people, because I'll go, oh yeah, right. I talked to somebody who needed this and I know somebody who has that. So let's figure out how to connect the two. And that's really what we end up trying to do, is matchmaking.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys do a great job of it.
We try.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Foster. And did I tell you it's Otterbus Day?
Is it Otterbus Day?
Otterbus Day. Yes. It's a
it
Wednesday. That means it's Otterbus is running on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
We didn't even talk about the Otterbus.
We didn't, so I'm going to put that plug there at the end.
Go look up the Otterbus, guys.
Otterbus.com. You can see the real-time tracking.
Oh, yes. And I love that the Otterbus is red and green, because every time the holidays come about, they go through the Elkstone lights
ready.
And the Liberty Lake Park lights, and it's perfect.
They will probably be doing that again. Thanks for mentioning that. So that for those regular riders, they had asked several years ago, can we see lights? And so that was added into what the Bedford Community Health Foundation helps pay for.
Yep. There's a lot of cool things happening in Bedford.
A lot of cool stuff.
A lot of cool partners for the town, too.
Yeah, we like partnerships.
Yeah. Makes the world go round. Well, Mary, thanks so much for joining me today.
Foster, absolutely.
We'll have to do it again.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, if you want to learn more about us at the Chamber, you can call us at 540-586-9401, or you can visit our website, bedfordareachamber.com, for information about our mission and the perks of becoming a member. But also on our website is a full directory of our membership, which is helpful for finding all sorts of amazing things in the region, including the town of Bedford. But that's all for today. Thanks so much for listening, and keep an ear out for the next Chamber Vibes episode.